Welcome everyone. Today we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with the original Pac-Man board versus the BitKit2. We're going to do the comparison on the mid-fruit pattern. So let's begin. So the mid-fruit pattern that I chose is again based off the teenage kid at the 7-Eleven in the 80s. But essentially it starts out the same as the cherry pattern. It changes a little bit here. We're going to grab these two dots quickly, and then notice there's going to be a slight pause right here. That makes sure these ghosts follow us through this turn. Go around here, we're going to give Blinky a little kiss. We're going to grab the fruit, come around here, and we're going to pause here for a bit. You'll notice that Pac-Man's about 2 frames ahead in the BitKit2 versus the original motherboard. I've noticed this is pretty consistent between the original and the BitKit2. You can see that the ghosts, they're positioned pretty much in the same spots. The Pac-Man could be ahead just by a little bit from that initial pause, but as I said, over many comparisons, the BitKit2 seems to run maybe a frame or 2 faster. And this comes in really handy in some of the later boards that the timing is more precise. And you'll notice most of these early patterns, there's a little bit of free play at the end. They're all relatively easy to get through the second orange. So I really only use a pattern to get most of the dots cleared and then grab some power pellets and see how many ghosts I can grab. As we head into the intermission, I just want to point out that this is the only intermission where the subsequent board, the ghosts don't stay blue longer. In fact, this one they shorten just a little bit, but everyone after, it's good to note that the intermission represents the next board's going to be slightly easier. So the first orange pattern, it's just like the strawberry, nothing new. This pattern will continue through the second orange, at which then we'll go to the apple board, and that pattern will carry us through the keys. A little pause there. Come around, grab these 2 pellets, give Blinky the kiss, grab the fruit, and we're going to pause here again to see where we're at. As you notice, BitKit2 slightly ahead. Carry on with some free play and clean up the board. We try to eat some of the ghosts, but really don't take too many risks, because 800 or 1600 points, it's kind of small relative to the later patterns where you're getting 5,000 per key. My goal was in the beginning just to get to the kill screen, so I tried to do it with minimal amount of risk. So this is the last of the mid-fruit patterns on the second orange. The next pattern will be the apple pattern, which we'll do for quite some time. But again, I like this pattern because it starts out to the left. It's kind of like the apple pattern in that you get these 2 dots right here, and it's helpful to kind of get muscle memory going. We're going to stop right here. You'll notice we're approximately at the same spot before we do that pause. Now I think the pause allowed the original to get a little bit ahead of the BitKit, and we finish out very similar. So the second orange will be the last time we use the mid-fruit pattern, and then we will move on to the apple pattern, which will take us through the 9th key, and from there we're going to use the stacked pattern, take us from the 9th key to the kill screen. That's it. Thanks for watching.